had a 5-year secret relationship with my brother's best friend, and we planned to make it public on New Year's Eve. At the banquet, he didn't mention a word about it. Instead, he leaned close to my ear and said half-jokingly, "I'm tired of sleeping with you. Why don't you marry someone else, okay?" I nodded calmly and said, "Okay," just because in my past life I tearfully begged him, insisting I'd marry no one else. After I married him as I wished, he turned cold and heartless. Even keeping his eyes closed throughout our intimate moments, he even ignored me when I was hemorrhaging during childbirth, choosing instead to celebrate his white moonlight's birthday at Disneyland. At that moment, I finally understood, love that is begged for is destined to fade away. Given a second chance at life, I smiled and agreed, "I'm tired of it too, let's break up." After hearing those words come from my mouth, Jude Shu froze for a moment, thinking he must have misheard. I, who have always been quick to explode at the slightest spark, suddenly became docile. He reined in that half-joking tone and looked at me seriously. "Cass, do you know what I was just saying?" A faint, indifferent smile still lingered on my face. "I know, didn't you say I should find someone else, in my past life?" If he had said even the slightest thing that upset me, I would have clawed at him like a frantic cat until he admitted his mistake, but this time, I chose to let him go and free myself. Jude Shu frowned. "Cass Ju, what's wrong with you today?" Before Jude Shu could finish speaking, the sound of shattering glass came from the next table. Immediately after, a graceful figure in white disappeared through the door in tears. Hearing the commotion, people at nearby tables turned to look. My brother Zhu Yang nudged Jude Shu with his elbow. "Wasn't that the person who smashed the cup your ex? Did you invite her here today? It's the new year, not exactly the time for breaking things. Could it be because of you?" Jude Shu's handsome brows furrowed even deeper as he stood up and strode toward the door. Before long, the crying outside the door gradually softened, turning into whispers like those between lovers. The dishes kept coming, and I absent-mindedly ate the food in my bowl. In the past, with every new dish served, I would always put a little in Jude Shu's small bowl for him. This had been my habit since I met him. He received many work calls and often had to step out to answer them halfway through a meal. Every time my brother sees me being so attentive to Jude Shu, he always gets jealous. "Wow, you're serving Jude Shu food again. You're never this attentive to your own brother. I've noticed for a while now. Could it be that you actually like that Jude Shu guy?" Several times, I almost blurted out the truth, but Jude Shu immediately distanced himself from me, ruffling my hair like an older brother would, smiling as he called me his sworn sister. I understood his message then. He didn't want our relationship to be public. For 5 whole years, he never posted anything about me on social media, not even posts set to only me visibility. He seems unwilling to leave any traces of the love we once shared, yet it is precisely because I love him so deeply that I willingly hide in the shadows. Time and time again, seeing me quietly eat my food, my brother teased, "Why don't you go check on your Jude? Be careful, or he might run off with another girl later." My hand holding the chopsticks paused for a moment. Him running off with another girl. What does that have to do with me? As his sworn sister, there's no need for me to disturb them. My brother stared at me intently, as if trying to read something from my expression. Today is Jude Shu's birthday, and we had originally agreed to officially announce our relationship today. But I never expected him to invite his first love, Lumi-san. At that moment, Jude Shu and Lumi-san returned. Lumi-san's eyes were red, as if she had just been crying. Jude Shu held her hand, comforting her from time to time. My brother whistled at the sight. "Jude Shu, Lumi-san, are you two back together?" As soon as the words were spoken, Jude Shu abruptly looked up at me, a flicker of panic flashing in his eyes. "What nonsense are you talking about? She and I have been old classmates for years. What's wrong with showing some concern?" My brother shamelessly moved closer. "I'm also your old classmate. Can you show some concern for me, Tilda?" Jude Shu laughed and pushed him away. "Get lost." Seeing Lumi-san acting all delicate and dependent, I pulled my brother away. "Big bro, stop interrupting second bro and sister Lumi-san's private time. Hurry back and eat your meal." With a beaming smile, I turned to Jude Shu. "Right, second bro." Hearing this form of address, Jude Shu was momentarily stunned. He gave me an inscrutable look but ultimately said nothing as he escorted Lumi-san out. The two had just left the table when the surrounding crowd began to gossip. "I told you the white moonlight effect is powerful, didn't I?" judging by their interaction tonight. There's an 80% chance they're getting back together. Absolutely. Back then, when Lumi's son needed a kidney transplant due to renal failure, Jude Shu didn't hesitate to give her his own kidney. He was even taking care of her in the hospital before he fully recovered himself. He literally gave her half his life. Now that Lumi's son has returned to the country, they'll never be apart again. Right, listening to these words, my heart ached so much I could barely breathe. It turns out their fates had long been tightly intertwined, only I was like a fool, maintaining a relationship with him that couldn't see the light of day, in my previous life. Everything changed drastically after I married Jude Shu. He no longer touches me, we sleep in separate rooms, and even our eating chopsticks must be kept apart. It wasn't until his parents pressured us to have a child that he reluctantly held me to fulfill the duty. That night, he insisted on turning off the lights, keeping his eyes closed the entire time, as if enduring unbearable shame. The next day, he went to Lumi's son's house to spend the night and didn't return until morning, one winter. I came down with the flu and lay in bed, weak and powerless. I wanted him to take me to the hospital, but he impatiently refused, using overtime work as an excuse. Yet, he ended up accompanying Lumi's son to a nail salon, where the staff praised them for being a loving couple. When I was in labor, bleeding heavily at home, I called him in tears. He finally exploded. "It's just giving birth, isn't it? It's not like you're going to die. What's there to cry about? Take a taxi to the hospital yourself." "I'm very busy. I'll hang up if there's nothing else." Before I could finish speaking, he hung up directly. When I called again, the phone showed it was turned off. In Lumi's son's social media feed, she posted 8 consecutive photos of Jude Shu celebrating her birthday with her at Disneyland, in every 9-square grid. The center photo showed Jude Shu and Lumi's son in a passionate embrace. At that moment, I lost all will to live. "Jude Shu, if you don't love me, what's the point of keeping this child?" I severed all means of survival, threw my phone out the window, and watched helplessly as the blood spread. I died from excessive blood loss. Yet even then, Jude Shu still thought I was acting. At the birthday party, without Jude Shu as the main guest, everyone quickly went their separate ways. I lacked enthusiasm and left shortly after finishing the meal. Jude Shu, who usually sends me a message every 3 minutes, was unexpectedly quiet tonight. Outside the window, the sound of firecrackers celebrating the new year could be heard, yet I felt no joy of the season. At midnight, a burst of fireworks lit up the window. Jude Shu, who rarely posts on social media, suddenly updated his feed. Lumi's son in the photo was leaning on his shoulder, fast asleep, looking serene and well-behaved. The caption was just one word, her. Just 1 minute after the post went up on Moments, the comment section started blowing up. "Wishing you 99, happy wedding. May you have a harmonious union lasting 100 years. I casually gave it a like, but when I refreshed, the post was gone from my Moments. The next second, Lumi's son sent me a message. "Brother Jude took me home, and I accidentally fell asleep on his shoulder. It was too late, and I was worried about him going back alone, so I let him stay overnight at my place. You wouldn't mind?" "Right," I replied indifferently with a From now on, whatever Jude Shu does or who he's with has nothing to do with me. Just as I was about to sleep, Jude Shu also sent me a message. What, are the two of them already in sync to this extent? "Lumi's son just returned to the country and didn't buy many clothes for the new year. Don't you have a few new ones? Lend them to her to wear tomorrow. The mall is closed, afraid I won't make it in time to buy." Seeing this message, my already gloomy mood instantly hit rock bottom. The new clothes I bought myself, I haven't even worn them yet. Yet now I have to give them to the person he loves most. What is he to me? I sulked and didn't reply, simply turning off my phone. Unexpectedly, early the next morning, Jude Shu showed up at my doorstep with Lumi's son. At 10 in the morning, Jude Shu rang my doorbell. My brother ran to open the door and saw Jude Shu and Lumi's son standing outside with a pile of gifts. Everyone in the family except me happily welcomed them. Jude Shu lost his parents at a young age and was raised by his grandmother. Since he was also our neighbor, my parents had long treated him as half their own son. After entering, Jude Shu gave me a deep look. My mom smiled and said to Lumi's son, "You must be Jude Shu's girlfriend, right? It's been years since we last met, and you've become even more beautiful." "Thank you, Auntie. It's been years, but you still look as youthful as ever." Lumi-san really knows how to talk. Just a few words had my parents grinning from ear to ear. Cass-ju, what are you dawdling in your room for? Come out and greet your brother Jude and sister Lumi-san. I obediently poured a cup of tea for Jude-shu and Lumi-san, saying respectfully, second brother, Lumi-san's family. Happy New Year. Jude-shu looked at me even more strangely. Just as I was going to the bathroom, he suddenly sent me a message. What are you sulking about? I just left it on read, at lunch. There was a little incident among us over seating arrangements. I was sitting in my usual spot when Jude-shu silently took the seat next to me. That's my brother's seat. My brother stared at Jude-shu taking his seat, then glanced at the empty spot next to Lumi-san, his eyes widening in disbelief. Damn. Why are you stealing my spot? Go sit next to your girlfriend already, he said. With that, he pulled Jude-shu up. After some playful bickering, Jude-shu ended up sitting across from me. But as soon as he sat down, I felt like sitting on pins and needles. He looked at me with deep, intense eyes. I averted my gaze and began eating in silence. Midway through the meal, he went to answer another phone call, looking at the empty small bowl in front of him. I swallowed a bite of vegetables and ultimately chose to ignore it. When he returned, he deliberately glanced at the small bowl and then looked at me. My brother noticed and quickly explained on my behalf, we're family eating together. No one's competing with you, so don't make it hard for Cass-ju. Just then, my mother looked at Jude-shu, then at me. With an ambiguous gaze, she suddenly called my name at the dinner table. Cass-ju, look, your brother Jude has brought his girlfriend home this year. When do you plan to bring a boyfriend home for us to meet? Jude-shu opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something. I interrupted him. If mom and dad or my brothers have any introductions, they can recommend them to me. In the past, I would have outright refused such questions. Seeing me change my tune this time, my brother was so moved that he shed tears. He gave my shoulder a firm pat and said, Cass, you've finally come to your senses. As long as you're willing to look, I'll arrange for you to meet some handsome guys right after dinner. I laughed and said okay. My gaze unintentionally drifting toward Jude-shu, only to see his lips pressed tightly together, his expression turning very unpleasant, amidst everyone's laughter. He suddenly interrupted us. Auntie, stop joking. Lumi-san is just an old classmate of mine. My mom froze for a moment, and Lumi-san's smiling face instantly stiffened. My brother, never one to miss stirring up trouble, chimed in. So you're still single? How about I introduce you to Cass then? Hearing this, my already flustered heart tightened to its limit. He immediately nudged my brother. Stop messing around. Cass is my sister. The hanging heart finally died, dead beyond dead. I took a deep breath and mustered all my strength to force a natural smile. Yeah, bro, don't talk nonsense. Jude-shu is my second brother. After dinner, Jude-shu took Lumi's-san and left. We didn't contact each other for the next few days. I went about my life as usual, eating and drinking, and actively participating in any class reunions. On the evening of the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, my brother had a class reunion. Seeing that I had no plans, he insisted on dragging me along. I went to bed early, refusing to go no matter what, but he said, tonight is your second brother's most crucial moment in life. As his younger sister, you must witness it. It wasn't until we arrived at the gathering that I finally understood. Lumi's-san plans to propose getting back together with Jude-shu at tonight's gathering. According to them, after Lumi's-san returned to the country, their relationship visibly warmed up quickly, and the chances of reconciliation are high. A classmate who works at a jewelry store said that Jude-shu went to their shop to pick out a ring the day before yesterday. It's almost certain that it's for Lumi's-san. I basically know all of my brother's classmates, and many of them greeted me when they saw me arrive. They kept complimenting me on how much prettier I'd become, jokingly telling me to pick a single guy from the crowd. Laughing, I joined in their playful banter. Jude-shu watched silently from not far away, not saying a word. Before dinner, Lumi's-san called me aside alone. Cass-ju, I know Jude treats you very well and listens to whatever you say, so later when I confess my feelings, could you put in a good word for me? This way, the chances of us getting back together will be much higher. Lumi's-san appears gentle on the surface, but in reality, her heart is filled with wicked thoughts. She knows I like Jude-shu, but because he refuses to go public, I can only suffer in silence. She just wants to exploit my weakness, my love for Jude-shu, to torment me relentlessly. But what Lumi-san doesn't know is that after my past life, I've completely given up on him. So I flashed an even brighter smile than hers. Sure, don't worry, I'll definitely do my best to support you too. Lumi-san pursed her lips and went back to the private room. At the dinner table, Jude Shu, for some inexplicable reason, started piling food onto my plate like crazy, just like how I used to serve him food in the past, just as the waiter brought a new dish of clay pot chicken, and he was picking up a piece to put in my bowl. I reached out to block the bowl, smiling. Second brother, I've grown up, I can do it myself, you should give some to Sister Lumi-san. The piece of chicken hung awkwardly in midair until Lumi-san noticed and reached out with her bowl to take it. Bro Jude, maybe there's someone here that Sister Cass fancies, you shouldn't worry about it so much. As they spoke, the classmates present began to rise one by one to toast Lumi-san, welcoming her back to the country. Just as Lumi-san was about to pick up her wine glass, Jude Shu snatched it away from her. Lumi gets drunk at the slightest touch of alcohol. Let me drink this cup for her. With those words, he tilted his head back and downed it in one gulp. The crowd burst into applause and cheers. They watched as Jude Shu drank one cup after another. Her face began to flush with a rosy hue. Lumi-san reached out to stop him, her voice soft as water. Jude, you don't have to drink so much for me. It was unclear whether Jude Shu was drunk or not. He looked at Lumi-san, his expression tender. It's okay, you can't handle alcohol. They're clearly bullying you, because of this remark. The surroundings erupted in murmurs. I knew that the most critical moment of Jude Shu's life was about to arrive. Lumi-san's face flushed red, her lips parting slightly as she whispered, Jude, after all these years, I still can't forget you. Let's get back together. Okay, say yes, say yes. Everyone started cheering. Jude Shu paused, seemingly caught off guard by how the situation was unfolding. The atmosphere was perfectly set. The heroine bravely confessed her love. Waiting only for the hero's nod of confirmation, a much-anticipated love story, a pair of extraordinary beauties, is about to unfold. Watching the two under the spotlight, I also clapped and shouted, with a girl as devoted and beautiful as Sister Lumi-san being a rare find. Second brother, how can you still hesitate to say yes? Jude Shu, however, looked at me with utter shock. What's gotten into you? Cass Shu, aren't you my girlfriend? What are you instigating? As soon as the words fell, everyone present fell silent. My brother was the first to react, looking at Jude Shu and then at me with a face full of shock. What did he just call you? Cass, girlfriend. I smiled calmly and said, Bro, can't you see second brother is drunk? He's just fooling around. Jude Shu seemed visibly annoyed as he pushed Lumi-san aside and walked toward me. I took a step back, and just then, the sound of a wine glass shattering came from behind. When Jude Shu turned to look, he rushed over in panic. Lumi-san's calf was cut open by the glass, leaving a bloody gash. The pale skin and deep red blood formed a stark, shocking contrast. Jude Shu's heart ached so much that his brows furrowed deeply. He directly scooped Lumi-san up in his arms, but Lumi-san shot me a glance, clinging pitifully to Jude Shu's neck. Brother Jude, with so many people watching, you should put me down quickly, otherwise, people might misunderstand our relationship. Cass seems to be in a bad mood, aren't you going to check on her? Lumi-san's voice was neither too loud nor too soft, but it just happened to reach my ears. She deliberately said this to lure Jude Shu into clarifying his relationship with Lumi-san in front of everyone. Unexpectedly, Jude Shu kept a stern face and ultimately said nothing. He merely glanced at me briefly before turning to Lumi-san and saying, Don't mind her, let me take you to the hospital first. With that, he carried Lumi-san out of the private room. The two had just left when my brother couldn't wait to come over and gossip. That Jude Shu guy can drink 1,000 cups without getting drunk. Spill it. What's really going on between you two? Considering my brother's big mouth, I decided to keep it from him. I shook my head. Nothing's going on. Maybe it was just too sudden for him because of Lumi-san's sister. My brother wanted to ask something more, but I waved him off and brushed it aside. I shouldn't have come to this class reunion in the first place. As soon as dinner was over, I made an excuse and left. Walking alone on the street, everywhere I looked were couples or small groups of people, their faces lit with happy smiles, gathered together setting off fireworks. Suddenly, I felt this New Year celebration was rather meaningless. I quickened my pace, planning to go home, wash up, and sleep. Just as I was about to reach the building, Jude Shu appeared. I sped up and ran toward the entrance, but he blocked me before I could get there. I dodged to the side, but he forcefully pulled me into his arms. If I hadn't experienced my past life, perhaps I would have been tempted by this warm embrace. The next second, I leaned against him and burst into tears. But having lived a second life, I coldly pushed him away. Second brother, this is right under my family's apartment. What if my parents see us and misunderstand? He paused. And the hand he had extended to me ultimately withdrew. Sometimes I can't understand. If you think I'm not good enough to be seen with you, why are you still with me? He demanded. What's wrong with you today? Why were you joining in with that crowd? I shrugged indifferently. Isn't it true? Lumi-san still can't forget you, Cass, and you almost gave your life to save her back then. I think you two are quite compatible. Getting back together is natural. I was speaking honestly. But Jude Shu interpreted it differently. He rarely showed a hint of a smile. What about you? Have you forgotten your own position? Who was it that said if I got too close to any girl, someone would? Jude Shu. I looked straight at him, enunciating each word clearly. We've already broken up. The next second, Jude Shu finally panicked. Who said we broke up? I won't allow it. What's not allowed? Before I could speak, my brother's boisterous voice came from behind me. I turned around with a smile and explained. Second brother wants to give Lumi-san a ring and came to ask me what style girls like. He said if I don't answer seriously, he won't allow me to go home. Jude Shu's expression instantly darkened. He grabbed my arm and was about to say something when my brother interrupted. If it's meant for her, why don't you ask her directly? Why ask my Cass? Or do you want to give Cass a ring? At the last sentence, Jude Shu's face turned slightly red. I pried Jude Shu's fingers off my arm one by one. Since you've decided to get back together with Lumi-san, you should hurry and go find her. She's injured her leg and needs someone to take care of her. Cass Ju, do you even hear what you're saying? Who said I was getting back together with her? Jude Shu raised his voice excitedly, causing passers-by to stop and stare. Damn it, Jude Shu, what's gotten into you? Whether you get back together or not is between you and Lumi-san. Why take it out on Cass? Seeing that Jude Shu was about to lose his temper again, I nudged my brother. It's too cold. Let's head back quickly. Just got home. Didn't even have time to take off my shoes. Jude Shu called. I hung up immediately, but he stubbornly kept calling. In the end, he sent me a message. What time are you going to sleep? I'll come find you later. I have so much to tell you. Can we talk? I didn't want to deal with him anymore, so I turned off my phone directly, but just as I turned off the lights to sleep, there was a knock on my bedroom door. Cass, someone's looking for you. Come out quick. I pulled the blanket over my head. I'm asleep. Whatever it is, talk to me tomorrow. It's Lumi-san looking for you. My eyes snapped open, and I frowned. What does she want from me? Lumi-san stood outside the door, holding several exquisitely wrapped gift bags, smiling warmly. I brought back a few sets of skincare products from abroad. I meant to give them to you earlier, but I forgot. As soon as the bedroom door closed, Lumi-san's smile vanished instantly. I couldn't be bothered to put on a friendly smile anymore, so I got straight to the point. You came to me for something else, didn't you? Lumi-san dropped all pretense and unceremoniously plopped into a chair, crossing her legs. Her demeanor made it seem as if she were the lady of the house. Cass Ju. I won't beat around the bush. I know that during my years abroad, Jude has been very close to you, but I'm back now, and I'm going to marry him and have children with him in the future. I hope you can keep some distance from him. A question mark slowly formed in my mind. Did you misunderstand something? Jude and I are just like siblings. Are you done? If you're done, please leave. I want to sleep. I wasn't close to her to begin with, and then she randomly pinned labels on me, which made me feel really uncomfortable. But the next second, Lumi-san's face twisted into a hideous expression. If it weren't for you, Jude Shu and I would have successfully gotten back together tonight. What are you pretending not to know? Can't you see that Jude Shu likes you? If it were in my past life, I would have firmly told her that the person Jude Shu likes is me. But in this life, I see clearly now, Jude Shu still has Lumi-san in his heart. Let me say it again, Jude and I are just like siblings. That's how it is now, and that's how it will always be. This relationship will never change. If you like brother Jude, then go after him bravely, instead of wasting your time on an outsider like me. Lumi-san was left speechless by the retort, unable to utter a word for a long time. In the end, She left the bags of gifts behind and walked away without saying anything. But after she left, instead of feeling the satisfaction of venting, I only felt more depressed in my previous life. Just after Jude Shu and I publicly announced our marriage, Lumi's son came to see me privately. I thought she was here to make trouble, but unexpectedly, she was remarkably calm. She took out her phone, pulled up the chat records between her and Jude Shu from the time they met until now, and flipped through them page by page for me to see, from the moment they first became friends, the initial formalities, to getting to know each other, and then becoming familiar, from the first date. The first confession, to becoming a couple. Even during the years after their breakup, when Lumi's son went abroad, they maintained a seemingly friendly yet ambiguous connection. She watched the light in my eyes gradually dim, a hint of triumph rising in her gaze. See, Jude Shu truly loves me, even if you marry him. So what? His heart won't be with you. He married you not out of love, but mere obligation, yet I refused to believe. Convinced that cold chat records could never replace the person by my side day and night, but who would have thought that Lumi's son's words would prove prophetic? I slept very restlessly that night and was still awake at dawn, until my brother knocked on the door outside. Cass, didn't you say the other day you wanted to find someone? My friend is coming back from abroad today. He studied medicine, same as your major. Would you like to meet him? I immediately perked up. Sure, out with the old, in with the new. For now, the best distraction is to make more friends. Seeing me actively getting ready to wash up, my mom sighed and said I've really grown up. I smiled self-deprecatingly and said it was all thanks to Jude Shu. My brother's friend was very straightforward and quickly settled on a meeting time. He also proactively asked for my contact information and had my brother share my WeChat with him. After adding them, I noticed their profile picture was a black cat. Suddenly, I felt a sense of familiarity because my profile picture is a British shorthair cat. They told me we'd meet tomorrow at a Hune restaurant near my place. How did you know I love spicy food? I was pleasantly surprised, seeing it was the restaurant I frequented. Ask your brother. I couldn't help but feel a hint of goodwill towards those who do their homework in advance. Just as I was on my way to the appointment, Jude Shu kept calling. I impatiently hung up, seeing that I wasn't answering the phone. He switched to texting. Cass Ju, where are you right now? I'm coming to find you now. Let's have a proper talk. Cass, can you reply when you see this? I don't want our relationship to become so distant. I directly set up a do not disturb reminder, entering the restaurant. I followed the waiter to the table Jiyu Xiao had reserved in advance. From a distance, I spotted a refined-looking man with glasses sitting by the window. That must be my brother's friend, on their first meeting. Jiyu Xiao put in considerable effort. He took out a small gift for me. It was an exquisitely carved wooden music box, with just a gentle twist of the key. The music box emitted a delightful melody. There is music, birdsong, and the sound of babbling water. It's quite delightful. Jiyu Xiao, seeing my joyful expression, suddenly said, "This is my doing. Aren't you studying medicine? How can you make such little gadgets?" I was so surprised I couldn't close my mouth. Jiyu Xiao was a bit shy, yet also somewhat proud. The subtle expressions on his face were adorable and lively, like a child's. My grandfather was a carpenter. I learned from him when I was little. I gave him a thumbs up, full of admiration for this multi-talented guy, throughout our chat and meal. Jiyu Xiao made me feel very comfortable. By the time we were almost done eating, I was already joking around with him, giving me such an expensive gift on our first meeting. I don't even know how to return the favor. I can't paint or sing. Jiyu Xiao laughed at my joke. No problem. We'll meet again next time. Consider it returning the favor for my gift. Amidst our laughter, a familiar voice suddenly sounded behind us. That voice instantly shattered my good mood into pieces. Turning around, I saw Jude Shu standing before me, his face haggard. Do you have any idea how hard I've been looking for you? Cass Ju. Jude Shu placed his hands on his knees, slightly panting, looking as if he had run all the way here. Upon seeing Jiyu Xiao sitting across from me, Jude Shu immediately furrowed his brows. He strode quickly to me and yanked me up from the chair. I was wondering why none of my calls or messages got through to you. Cass Ju, you're something else. We haven't even broken up. And you're already rushing to date another man. Jude Shu's voice was neither too loud nor too soft, but it was enough to draw glances from the surrounding tables. He pulled me so hard it hurt. I tried to shake him off, but he only held on tighter. Jude Shu, don't talk nonsense. I already agreed to your breakup request after your last birthday. I'm single now, and you have no right to control which man I date. Jude Shu was completely enraged and actually tried to kiss me in public. I wanted to slap him. But with both hands restrained, I couldn't stop him. At that moment, a strong hand reached between me and Jude Shu. Ji Xiao effortlessly pushed Jude Shu aside and shielded me behind him. Sir, if you continue like this, I'll call the police and report you for sexual harassment. Who the hell are you? I'm talking to my girlfriend. Get out of my way. With that, Jude Shu recklessly grabbed Ji Xiao by the collar, trying to shove him aside. However, being shorter than Ji Xiao, he ended up being lifted off the ground by Ji Xiao's hands instead. You, let me go, sir. With such a volatile temper, it's hard to believe you're her boyfriend. What if you're a bad person trying to abduct this lady? Everyone, think about it. Isn't that a possibility? Ji Xiao's rational and gentlemanly demeanor quickly won the approval of those around him. Jude Shu, realizing he was no match, finally gave up the struggle. But just as Ji Xiao had set Jude Shu down, he suddenly lunged forward. Attacking Ji Xiao, the two men fell to the ground, wrestling with each other. Even the restaurant security couldn't hold them back. I dialed 110 to call the police without any expression. Then I called Lumi's son, tell her to keep a better eye on her boyfriend. But Lumi's son coldly said, don't call me again about anything related to Jude Shu. There's no chance of us getting back together. Before I could respond, she hung up the phone. I stared at my phone with a puzzled expression. Unsure of what was happening, at the police station, the officers gave both of them a lecture on proper conduct and soon released them. Just after leaving the station, Jude Shu couldn't contain his excitement and looked at me eagerly again. I sighed helplessly. Jude Shu, please stop harassing me. As soon as the words were spoken, Jude Shu couldn't wait to say, I was drunk that day and made an unintentional joke. Don't take it to heart, Cass Ju. I never thought about getting back together with Lumi's son. The one I like is you. I sneered. You keep saying you like me, so why did we have to hide our relationship for 5 years? Why keep me in the shadows? Jude Shu, the one you like isn't me. It's just yourself. After speaking, I turned and left, with Jude Shu immediately following me like a dog. I'm warning you, if you keep following me, I'll call the police. Ji Yuxian stepped forward to block him. And Jude Shu finally had no choice but to stand there and watch us leave. But I never expected that Jude Shu would turn around and announce our relationship to the whole world. Early the next morning, before I was even awake, my brother was banging on my door. Cass Ju, get out here right now. I have something important to ask you. When I groggily opened the door, I saw Jude Shu and my brother standing there. I instinctively tried to close the door, but my brother blocked it. Cass Ju. Jude Shu and I have come clean about everything. Don't you have anything to confess? I have nothing to confess. We're just sworn siblings. That's all. But he told me you two dated for 5 years. What's going on? Hearing my brother's words, I laughed. Sure, we've been together for 5 years. May I ask, second brother, what evidence do you have? Jude Shu opened his mouth but ultimately couldn't say anything. In 5 years of dating, he never posted a single moment about me on his social media. Even if he did post, it was always a group photo of the three of us. For 5 years in our relationship, all the gifts we exchanged were related to food and drinks. He didn't want to leave behind anything tangible, afraid it might be discovered by others. I've had doubts and felt wronged. But he said I was still too young, worried my family would object. But I'm not that young anymore. I've been with him since I was 18, and now I'm 23. The ridiculous thing is, Jude Shu couldn't produce a single piece of evidence. At that moment, he suddenly remembered something. Don't you have our photos together in your phone? Show them to your brother. I do have some, but I deleted all the ones we took when we were alone together. The only photo left is a group shot of the three of us hanging out. My brother, who was listening to our conversation on the side, had already started to suspect something. He was wondering if Jude Shu had something wrong with his brain. You say you've been in a relationship for 5 years, and it's understandable if people around you didn't know. How can there not be a single shred of evidence? Jude Shu, are you sure you're dating my sister? Is this how you date someone? Are you even a man? Seeing Jude Shu still trying to insist, my brother was already growing impatient. Cass Ju, explain it to your brother. I really have been with you for 5 years. Cass, Have you forgotten what I said to you? Have you forgotten that you said you loved me? Hearing Jude Shu's words, I felt a wave of nausea. Bro, I think Jude Shu is still drunk and hasn't sobered up yet. You should take him out quickly. After that, I blocked all of Jude Shu's contact information. It's been made clear enough, any further pestering would be harassment. Jude Shu came to my house to make a scene several times later. To the point where even my parents found out and had to chase him away with a broom. They thought it was strange, such a fine young man, yet he seems a bit mentally unstable. Could it be that he had a falling out with Lumi-san and is trying to use Cass as a replacement? Under my brother's persistent questioning, I finally confessed to him about my 5-year relationship with Jude Shu. After hearing it, he didn't scold me. Instead, he patted my head with heartache. You're such a fool. Why didn't you tell your brother anything? I should have cut ties with Jude Shu earlier if I'd known he was such a jerk. Cass Ju, remember this, any man who makes you feel wronged in a relationship isn't worth keeping. Cut him off clean and quick. Got it, I nodded. After the holiday break, I returned to work at the hospital. I heard from my female colleagues at the nurses' station that a new doctor had joined the surgery department. Not only is he tall and handsome, but he's also a top graduate from a prestigious foreign medical university. When I heard them say the doctor's surname was Gu, my heart skipped a beat. I also thought that such coincidences couldn't possibly happen. After all, the world is so vast. But early that morning, a banner was hung at the hospital entrance, and even a welcome ceremony was held. I just found out that the new doctor who joined is actually Ji Xiao. Jude Shu's handsome brows furrowed even deeper as he stood up and strode toward the door. Eternal Me maintained that smile for a long time. So long that everyone couldn't help but follow his gaze and look at me. The colleague next to me nudged me and asked, "What, do you two know each other?" I quickly lied, "No. This is actually my first time meeting Gu today." As soon as the words left my mouth, Ji Xiao walked towards me. "Cass Ju, what a coincidence." He extended his hand to me. Everyone was whispering. A month later, everyone in the hospital knew Ji Xiao was pursuing me. He would deliberately wait for me to finish work and even bought me late-night snacks during my night shifts. Thanks to his treats, I gained 2 pounds. My relationship with Ji Xiao became ambiguous, with only a thin layer left to be pierced, but I never expected to see Jude Shu again at the hospital. By then, it had been over 2 months since I last saw him, and when we met again, he was accompanying a girl for a medical checkup. When I saw the girl's face, I was taken aback. The girl bears some resemblance to me. Jude Shu noticed me, paused for a moment, then started walking towards me. I pushed through the crowd, heading for the elevator, trying to get away from him, but accidentally bumped into someone's arms. Ji Xiao didn't push me away. Instead, he held me even tighter. The intimate gesture drew sidelong glances from others. I turned back. The elevator doors were about to close. Through the gradually narrowing gap, I saw the desolate expression on Jude Shu's face. My heart remained utterly unmoved. Farewell, Jude Shu, for the rest of my life. You will no longer exist in my world.